So basically, I'd hit this guy and he'd fell to the ground and I kept going. I gave him a few more and then
Knocked out a couple of teeth.
Yeah, well, at this point, I didn't know, but the girl that was actually getting attacked was one of my best friends that worked for the club and I couldn't see because it was so dark.
Your lips got me.
If you guys just saw recently, Joe Rogan has signed a $100 million fucking paycheck to do a podcast, dude.
So me and Ben thought, why aren't we doing podcasting? So that's what brings us to the Disco Lips podcast. We're here live in Sydney from St. Leonard's and we're here to not fit in, but we're here to take over this shit.
Yeah, you know, I think how hard can it be to really just have a conversation and get paid $100 million for it, dude?
Well, I feel like we have lots of conversations and we talk lots of shit and we don't get paid for it. So, like, why not get paid for it, you know?
Exactly. You know, how hard can it be to just sort of sit down, put this big, dick-shaped microphone in front of my face and just have a good old yarn?
A bit of an introduction. We walked up here and Ben actually booked this place. And the first impression of when I walked up was that it looked like a brothel.
Yeah.
And the guy agreed.
Harpoon goes, oh, these walls look awfully like a brothel. And he was feeling it. And he was feeling like the fucking silk-covered walls of this podcast studio. It's not really a podcast studio. It actually might be a brothel. We could be recording in a brothel right now.
We could be coming live from a brothel.
What's up, guys? Disco Lips podcast live from a fucking brothel in this bitch.
If you hear like thuds and stuff during the podcast, it's probably the rooms next door.
Yeah.
Someone's getting pumped.
It's probably Karen getting absolutely railed.
Good old Karen. So should we kick it off with an introduction of who we are for those who don't know myself or you?
Yeah, I reckon we should do
We've got
that.
a mixed fan base, so...
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll kick it off. My name is Ben Gerrans. I am a YouTuber and newly a DJ from Sydney. I've been making YouTube videos for like 5 years and I only just started DJing and making music and I fucking love it. So that's a bit about me. And now on to you, Mr. Harpoon, dude.
Yeah, so my name is Harpoon. My real name's Ryan and I am a DJ producer from Sydney, if you don't know. Myself and Ben actually met through the industry. So I think I was playing a gig one day at Coogee and Ben was in the car and we kicked it off and we became really good mates. And ever since then, you've wanted to get into the music industry and I've wanted to get into the sort of the social media industry and we've collided and we're an unstoppable force.
Dude,
and
we're gonna
with an 18 baby.
We're gonna smash some walls. I reckon we'll be getting that $100 million paycheck in no time, dude. By the way, that's a joke. If anyone's not really catching on to that, no, we're not expecting $100 million paycheck, but $1 million in the next 3 episodes should be quite doable.
So I reckon we should sort of narrow it down to a few questions for a start. So Ben, like, what gave you the impression that you wanted to be a DJ or get into the music industry?
That's a good question. It's funny. So I actually used to hate like electronic music. Everyone's going to fucking hate me for saying that, but I actually used to not be the biggest fan. I used to listen to like soft boy shit, like, like I want to just fall in love with a girl and like listen to lo-fi hip hop.
How does it go?
Yeah. That was what I used to listen to. I listened to something like real pussy shit. Maybe I was trying to just like reconcile some deep, dark fucking abyss in my soul by listening to this like soulful shit. I don't really know.
To make up for the tiny penis syndrome or whatever.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly what it is. I've never thought about it like that, but it does definitely correlate with my macropiness.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then a few friends of mine and I went to Europe and there was a festival called Ultra in Croatia and we all went there and just had the fucking best time. And I just remember looking back and since it's in Europe, all these different people from different countries all rock up and they all wear their own flags and have their own country's colors, like, covered in their face paint. Like the Spanish people would be wearing like yellow, black, red, like flags, everything. And obviously we had like an Australian flag. And I remember looking back, I think I was on my friend Marcus's shoulders and I was like, holy fuck, this shit is wild. Like none of these lyrics anyone understands. They don't even mean anything. But people are still having like the best time, and it sort of unites everyone despite where you're from, like fucking how old you are. There was just so much variation. I've never seen anything like that before, and I think that really changed my opinion on it all. And since then, I was like really, really interested in it. I went to a few more festivals and came back, and I was like, fuck, I'd love to start sort of playing electronic music. And so I did. And I've just gotten really, really into it. And I think it started off when I sort of made a podcast. Not a podcast, sorry, a playlist.
Wait, you've done this before?
I made a playlist of like 100 of my favorite songs, and all my boys were like, yo, this fucking dope playlist, dude. And I was like, fuck, maybe I should become a DJ. So yeah, I learned how to DJ. Shout out McMillan Twins for teaching me how to DJ. And here we are.
That's awesome. I've had a similar vibe to what you've experienced at Ultra at Tomorrowland. And like, I remember I was there probably 2 or 3 years ago, and I was just in the crowd, and there was a sea of people, just flags from all different countries. And you just look around and you're like, how are so many people from different countries all at the one event? Like it's insane the amount of people that get into one area just to support like electronic music.
It's wild as fuck, especially because like all these people are bonding over the same thing, and most of them don't even speak the same fucking language.
No.
Like I reckon most people at the festival that I was at in Croatia, they would not speak a word of English.
No.
But like you're fucking dabbing up these dudes who speak fluent Croatian, don't speak a single fucking word of English, and you're dabbing them up and just like fucking fist pumping them and shit. Just bouncing together in these death pits. It was just the fucking funnest thing, and I think that's what really sparked me to just get more into electronic music and started my love for it, because before that I've never really got into it, because like the only time you really see it here in fucking Sydney is like they don't really have like a really hectic electronic music scene, especially when you first start going
There's nothing compared in Australia to the bigger festivals overseas. They're just you can't even scratch the surface of what we have compared to what they have. It's just complete different. Like, unless you experience it over there yourself, you don't know what we're talking about. You can't describe it. No, it's just like Australia on steroids.
You go out here and you just see like Hannah Montana Party in the USA playing. You're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And maybe, and even when I first went to Europe, like I didn't really love going out. Ooh. I didn't really love going out like at all. And now I just fucking love it.
Frothing it.
Because mostly because like I know the songs now, and like I can like bump to it, you know. Before like some fucking Dom Dollar, Paddy Topping came out, I was like, ooh, what's this shit? Just all sounds the same.
Yeah.
But now I love it, and it's like part of my life. What made you get into DJing?
I got into it late actually. So me and my boys, I'm from Dubbo originally, so I'm a country boy, as you know. So I grew up in the country, and we're looking, I think it was like a month or two before schoolies started, and we're all on the lounge and we had nothing planned. And I was like, fuck, like everyone's going to the Gold Coast, and you know, like parents are just like, oh, probably shouldn't go to the Gold Coast because they've seen all the stories that happens over the years. And I was sitting on the lounge, and this Unleashed Travel came up on, we're watching MTV, and it's like, there's a few spots left to go to Fiji for schoolies. And we're like, fuck, we should just like ring. We thought it was a bit of a hoax. We didn't even know really. So we rang up and actually secured the last 3 or 4 spots, I think there was.
Oh, no way.
Ended up going to Mana Island. No, was it? No, it was actually a different island back then. It was, I can't remember the actual name of it anymore, but we went to this island, and I had the fucking sickest time of my life. Like, you're literally on an island with 300 people, and you become so close. Much like to anyone who's going to do a schoolies trip, or, you know, he'll have a brother or like a sibling, I'd 100% recommend going to Fiji through Unleashed grad trips. Like, their business model is insane.
Just free brand deals. No free brand deals. Unleashed grad trips isn't paying us.
Unleashed grad trips, get on it. Yeah, the whole company is incredible. Like, the best week of my life. But anyway, so on the flight over there, me and the boy, I was the same as you, hated electronic music, was listening to like really shit radio music.
I was listening to like Top 100.
Yeah,
that's what I was listening to.
Literally that. I think it was like The Paralyzer was like the biggest song. Like, I'm the paralyzed, I seem to be struck. You know that song? Nah.
I've never
anyway,
heard that
that's awkward. I'm who's older than Ben, so he probably hasn't heard these.
If anyone can tell, Harpoon's about 35. And
I'm divorced with 2 kids. No, so yeah, we're on the way on the plane trip over there, and the boys were looking up the DJs for the island, and there was this one guy named Jordan, one of my mates was looking up, and he's like, oh, this guy's played with Avicii and Hardwell. I was like, bro, I could not give a fuck. I could not care less. Anyway, got to the island. We're about 2 or 3 days in, and we'd been partying, and I was partying in a room with a bunch of girls and this other dude, and it was Jordan, but I didn't know at the time. And we kicked it off. We became like heaps good mates, and then I still didn't really like. He didn't say anything why he was there or who he was with. We just sort of were hanging out, and then later that night we all went back to our rooms to get have pre-drinks and then go out. And then we got to the dance floor and he was DJing, and I was like, what the fuck? Like I was hanging out with the DJ all day and I didn't know. And he's like, come up on stage, let me up on stage and whatever. And then he let me like touch the jog wheel, like spin it. I'm like, can I
love it first
yeah,
time.
I was like, can I touch it? And he's like, yeah, let me spin it. And I was like, fuck, this is sick. Like being up in front of all those people and you're the center of attention. And I think that's
oh yeah, you just love the attention.
I love the center of attention and having the limelight. So I was just like up there and I was like, this is epic. And anyway, after school is finished, I was like, I actually bought it. I made a Fijian go into the local town and buy me a USB. I gave him like $50 and I wanted to steal Jordan's music. He gave me a bit of music and then I bought some decks as soon as I got off Fiji, and then I started in the small country town, and then that's when the grind began.
The grind.
That was the beginning.
House parties and fucking... What was it? What did you do? Did you get many girls from DJing when you started?
That's the misconception. So like...
Maybe not for you. Damn, that sucks.
No, I've done all right in the past, but I feel like everyone thinks that like you'll have a swarm of messages after you play. Even to this day, people presume that you're going to get a bunch of chicks messaging you, but the reality is it's a bunch of dudes and other DJs that are like, cool set, bro, or they're like, hey, bro, can you send me that mashup you played? That's all you get. Like, there's no...
And then all the chicks are like, can you please play some Cardi B?
Yeah, there's like, you're thinking like there'll be 10 sliding into the DMs. It doesn't happen. It's just blokes straight up all the time.
Damn. Well, that's okay because we both have girlfriends now. So...
Oh, I just bumped the shot, but it's all good.
we both have girlfriends now, so we don't need girls sliding into the DMs.
Exactly. We're happily
wifed up.
Happily wifed up. Shout out Bianca Sam.
Hashtag put a ring on it. Yeah, we're ready to go. Do you have any crazy stories from like DJing or in the past, like at Dubbo or anything? Do you have any like really fucking wild stories?
I've got dickloads of stories, man, and I think over the course of how many episodes we're going to do, you'll hear them, or both of our crazy stories. But I guess I'm going to have a lot more because you're fresh in the industry.
Yeah.
Basically, we're going to come at this podcast from an angle of like me almost giving guidance to Ben as I'm a bit older and he's just starting. So I see Ben as how I started, and I want to sort of give him direction of like lessons I've learned. So I've probably done majority of the things he's about to do, and I want to like, if I knew something didn't work, I'd rather tell him now so he can just fast track to where I am, sort of thing. But yeah, I've got a lot of crazy stories. I've got one from Greece, actually. Probably 2 years ago, I went to DJ in Greece for the summer. So I went over there to a small island near Turkey. It was actually called Rhodes. I don't really want to say the club names or any sort of
I don't
get into names or anything like that because it's pretty gnarly over there. But basically, when you get there, it's not like Australia. Like it's crazy over there, and it's just one strip of clubs, and that there's just people going up and down all night, and your job is to bring the people in from another club and hopefully keep them there. Anyway, the very first night I landed in Greece, I sort of realized it's a bit more violent. Like, for an example, the first night I got there, someone was annoying one of our club owners, and like it's sort of like a real tight-knit family. So it's like if someone gets in a fight over there, it's like all in, like one in, all in. And like I'm not used to sort of seeing so much like violence when I first got there. Other than that, like it's a beautiful place, but like the first time I got there, it was just like a violent. It must have just been a crazy night. Anyway,
did you know that you were going to get the gig as like a DJ before you went over?
Yeah, I already had it teed up. Probably months before, so I knew I had it teed up, and I got there anyway. The first night there was this guy like being cheeky to one of our bouncers out the front of the club, and I remember like they took him and they belted the crap out of this dude like down an alleyway, like literally kicked him in the stomach and stuff. And I'm like, holy crap! Like I'm like, what's going on? Like these guys are just belting this dude. He was in the wrong though anyway, but it was just like you don't see that here in Australia, and then I sort of got accustomed to it over like the few months that I was there of just like seeing crazy shit and just thinking it was normal. So that led to one night, I finished DJing. I was doing crazy long sets. They must have been like 6-hour sets, I'd say. I'd start at like 10 and go till about 4 a.m. And one night I finished at 4 a.m. and I was walking down. So when you'd leave the club, you'd walk along the front of the ocean and it was pitch black and there was like street lights every probably 20 meters. And there was like a park bench I could see like that overlooks the ocean. And I could hear this screaming like help screaming. I was like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, I've walked a bit closer and I could see like diagonally across the road, there's a girl getting like held down and this guy's like trying to rip her clothes off. And I was like, fuck me. So I've like literally just sprinted over and I've just dog shotted this guy from the side. Just all in, just like straight in, hard as I could, just smacked him.
WWE slammed this dog.
Just smacked him. And I've actually, if you can see on the camera shot, my knuckle is still broken from it. That knuckle is dropped down considerably. So my second knuckle is about the same height as my pinky if you hold your fist together. And that's like, so basically I'd hit this guy and he'd fell to the ground and I kept going. I gave him a few more and then
Knocked out a couple of teeth.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I didn't know, but the girl that was actually getting attacked was one of my best friends that worked for the club and I couldn't see because it was so dark. Anyway, he'd already like, her eye was actually split and she had a bit of blood dripping down her face. And anyway, by this point, there was a big bit of commotion and everyone like ran out of the clubs. And they're like, what happened? What happened? I was like, he was literally just trying to like rape such and such. And they're like, fuck. They're like, you need to go. So they put me on the back of a scooter and just tried to get me out of there. So like if cops came, like I'm not in the wrong sort of thing. So I've jumped on a scooter to go back around to the club, or I think we went somewhere else to hide me and put ice on my hand and whatnot. And anyway, as I was getting off the scooter, they went and gave him a few more. Like these, it was like this dude was like, he deserved it. Obviously, anyone that does that to women.
Of course, that's fucking.
But over there, the beaches are all pebbles, like rounded stones. So, and there's like a ledge of about probably 2 or 3 meters from the road down to the beach. And anyway, as I was driving off on the scooter on the back of someone's scooter, I see them like roll him off the edge onto these flat pebbles. And I was just like, dude, like he ain't going to be feeling the best in the morning. So anyway, because it's such a small island, I was like, this guy could like be in some in a bad way. So I'm like, I can't go to the hospital tomorrow to get my hand looked at because they might see this dude who's like really banged up and be like, you're the dude who did this. So anyway, I went to the hospital 2 days later and I had this huge swollen hand and I was like, it was just so puffy and I was telling everyone like, it's fucking broken. I can feel it. They're like, no, it's fine. It's all good.
Meanwhile,
I'm
your
like,
pinky's just hanging off by a thread.
It was hanging. And I eventually went to the doctors, waited there all day and got like a, I was thinking I was getting a cast. I waited there all day and they literally wrapped a bit of cotton and a bandage around it. And I was like, oh, cool. So when are you putting the cast on? They're like, that is the cast. I'm like, that's a fucking bandage. That ain't going to do shit. So anyway, that hand healed in the wrong place. So that knuckle will be forever dropped. And I had to DJ for another month doing 6-hour sets with a broken hand. So that's probably a crazy story of my strength and commitment to the job.
That's fucked.
Playing with a broken hand for 6 hours every night for a month.
Greece is wild, dude. I was there last year, probably about this time. I left to go to Europe for 3 months in June of last year. And Mykonos was our first place that we went to. And we went to hire these quad bikes from, I think we even got hooked up by the hotel, right? And this guy comes to pick us up. He's like a bit dodgy looking, but we're not going to fucking like judge this dude. And like you got to hire these quad bikes. You don't need, you know for a fact, you don't need any license or anything. You don't even have to fucking wear a helmet. They do not give a shit.
Wave some money in their face and it's yours.
Yeah, they do not give a fuck. And like you're meant to have like your international driver's license. Half the boys didn't fucking have it. They were just like, oh fuck, we don't care about that shit. Like just give us your money. And then
what was that? A little mini wig out? You just
I thought my computer like turned off. And then like we got the bikes. Dude, I literally almost crashed it on the halfway through up the hill. Like it was sort of at the bottom of this massive hill. And he was like, yeah, don't don't buy the bike. Don't crash the bikes. Just spend the rest on alcohol and drugs. And we're like, that's an interesting thing for a quad bike hire guy to say.
So we did.
and then we're like, oh, righto. I mean, like, fuck, all right. I mean, thanks, man. I guess we won't fucking crash the bike anymore. And then we got the bikes. We started driving up the hill, and after 5 minutes of driving up the hill, we noticed this fucking Greek guy and another guy on the back of his little scooter was flying up the fucking hill, going like, hey man, you want to buy any drugs? Like
The same guy.
We noticed you looked at us funny when you said you wanted to, when we mentioned drugs. I was like, nah, bro, we don't want to buy any drugs. But fuck, it was so funny. Like a quad bike guy tried to sell us drugs.
The same dude. So he sold you the bikes and then drove up.
Not only that, but he picked us up from the hotel, which was a shithole, by the way. We stayed in this place called Paraga Beach Hostel. I don't know if anyone listening to this is going to know where that is.
Shout out. Do up your hotel. It's a shithole.
Dude, it's not a hotel. It's not a hotel.
It's a dog kennel on glorified dog kennel.
We stayed in this place. It was the cheapest place we stayed in the whole of Europe. It was $26 a night each. And it was just this like sort of tent with linen walls. It didn't have any windows. And it just had a wooden door and like tent sort of material, like tent linen, and then 2 beds like top to tail, and then 2 beds top to tail sort of sitting next to each other and like sort of 30 centimeters in between. So we had nowhere to put our suitcases or anything like that. So we kind of just slept with our suitcases by our side, and there was 4 of us in there, and there was no shitter. There was just, we had to like walk 300 meters down the fucking road. But it was so much fun. It was right near all the clubs and everything though, so we had the best time.
I think it like makes you realize how good you've got it, because I had the same situation where like our shitter didn't work. We had no hot water, no lights, couldn't open your suitcase, and you're just like, you get home, you're like, oh, clean bed, hot water, a shitter that flushes. Like you take for granted just normal stuff, but like,
and even just like a little bit of safety as well. You know, like. Although it's such a beautiful place, I can't guarantee how safe you feel in Mykonos. Like you piss off the wrong guy, and not only that, but like we almost tried to juke him as well. I completely forgot about this, but we tried to juke the dude. Like
elaborate.
Yeah, well, I think we thought he was like hell sketchy, and we were like, oh no, we should probably get the quad bikes from a different place, because you have to give him like your credit card and everything as well. So we like had to give this guy a fucking credit. No, I had to give him my passport.
Yeah, that's what they usually ask for. We never do that. Anyone that asks for your passport, you don't do that.
We gave this drug dealer our fucking passport, dude. And we're like, nah, we'll go. So like when he was in his office, we just like dipped, and then he sort of came back, was like, hey man, what's going on? We're like, oh fuck, we thought you left. We were just trying to find you. And then he took us back on his fucking quad bike with the van, and we ended up giving him his passport.
You lose your passport over there, you are screwed.
You're fucked, dude. You are so fucked.
Me and one of my best mates, this is on the back end of the Tomorrowland trip, we went to Ibiza, best place in the world.
I love Ibiza. Ibiza is paradise on earth.
If I could die and live somewhere, it would be Ibiza. And this is probably probably 4 or 5 days into that trip, we got broken into our apartment. My mate's a smoker, so we're on the 4th story of a balcony, and there's a specific sign that says, make sure you shut your balcony windows before you go out. Anyway, we went out. We're getting plastered every night, going ham. We watched Carl Cox's last set at Space, which was incredible. Just got home, and we were so fucked. You know when you're just at the point where you're like, I'm just going to fall into bed. We opened the door, and our room was just trashed, and I just still didn't really notice. I just face planted out. And my mate Ethan was like, dude, we've been robbed. And I'm like, no. I was like, face on the pillow. I'm like, no, shut up. Like, go to sleep. And he's like, dude, get up, look around the room.
You didn't even realize?
Nah, I was that fucking tired and fucked. And he's like, we didn't leave our documents all over the floor before we left, did we? And I'm like, fuck, probably not. And then he's like, look, the safe's even broken open. They've like wedged the safe open. And yeah, we didn't have anything on us because we had like our phone wallet on us. I think we had some fake, we had some fake sunnies from Bali because we were in Bali before. And I think they might have got like a GoPro and that was it. But we were freaking out because of our passports. Like we lost our passports.
Holy shit, dude.
And they ended up turning out to be on the balcony of the level 1. Luckily they dropped them on the balcony of level 1 because they climbed up the air conditioner vents. So
That's some fucking movie shit. Climbing up the
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that like actually exists.
yeah, so they climbed
Whoa,
up the thing and anyway, yeah, so that was a pretty crazy story. We were pretty worried because we would have had to go to the embassy. We were freaking out because it was in the night, so we couldn't see down there yet. So we found out the next morning. So we sort of had a shitty sleep thinking like our passports are gone, we're fucked.
Wow, dude, that would have been terrifying. How long ago was that?
That would have been 2 years ago, I'd say now. It was sick. It was just like one big trip. We went to Bali, into Tomorrowland, so Belgium, Amsterdam. And then it actually, Ibiza came about on truffles, which is like the bottom of magic mushrooms when you're in like Amsterdam. They just sell them legally in like little plastic containers through little cafes. So we're actually over there and we had these truffles. The boys all went out. I actually
that
didn't
shit
go
was
out.
fucking terrifying. All my homies did that while we were in Amsterdam. I decided not to because I was like a bit
freaked
freaked
out
out about it. Yeah, and because I'm a massive fucking pussy, and I was just sort of by myself. I went to like to some fucking art gallery while all my mates were tripping fucking balls in this forest, and they called me. And I just see a few of them. I'm not going to say their names because they might not want me to say like they were fucking super fucked up on these like magical truffles. But they'd walked like a kilometer into this forest, and apparently they walked in, and they were super like wigged out, and there was this log sort of over the path that they had to step over to get into this clearing that they were just tripping out in, and they went over, and then it sort of hit them all at once, and then they couldn't get back over the log to get out. So they FaceTime me and I'm just seeing them like they're looking at their hands, just like, whoa, dude, this is the trippiest fucking thing ever. And then one of my mates didn't like it and he was freaking the fuck out. And he goes on FaceTime with me. He's like, Ben, are you real? I need to make sure you're real.
What?
And at that moment I was like,
fucked.
man, I'm probably never going to do psychedelics. It's just too much for me. I don't think my little brain can handle it.
Yeah, I think you got to be even if you are strong mentally, it'll fuck you.
I think it's definitely okay for some people. Like Joe Rogan talks about it extensively in his podcast, but
And does it while he does the show and still functions.
yeah, he's on like 6 tabs of acid. Just like talking to Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's got like 6 eyes.
Yeah, imagine that. Yeah.
What if I'm low-key on like a bunch of DMT right now? I'm like
Low
trying
key.
not to space
And you
out.
didn't tell me.
Dude, I'm seeing the dragon. I'm seeing the light.
Oh shit. Yeah.
I think it's definitely worth noting that on the podcast, Harpoon and I actually have a pretty significant age gap. Like as we sort of described before, I'm 19 and you just turned 25, right?
Yeah.
The
So
big
basically
25.
30. Basically 30.
Yeah, he's ready to start getting married, have a few kids, settle down now.
Yeah, don't put ideas in Sam's head. But anyway, no, I'm joking.
Shout out to Harpoon's girlfriend Sam. You know, he was just telling me how much he wants to get married to you,
And to make little babies.
and he's just thinking about proposing. He keeps asking me how to do it.
I've actually picked out my daughter's name.
Really, what is it?
It's Scarlett.
Scarlett.
Like, that is the hottest name, Scarlett Harper. Tell me you wouldn't want to bang that.
You know what? I can't decline. You know,
You know?
I've decided that I want to call my child Mila,
Like after Mila Kunis.
like Mila Kunis.
Ooh.
I think that's sexy name.
And do you want to have it to Mila Kunis? No,
Have it
jokes,
with Mila
Bianca. No. Yeah, like Ben said, there is a big age gap with us, but the thing that makes it work is our energy levels. Like, I've always been a person who, I don't care if someone's 16, 15 or 40, whatever age, if they can hold a good conversation and they're a good time and they give off good energy, I've got all the time in the day for them. And I think, Ben, you're the exact same. And that's...
Oh, thanks, man.
Oh,
I'm so glad
Getting
you
blushed.
appreciate me like an equal, dude. I'm so glad you're not ageist towards me.
no, but I think that's why it'll work. And I think people will view this podcast in that way, that you can literally come and talk to anyone about anything of what age and not feel, I don't know, not feel judged. Just feel like you're all there having a good time. We're both very extrovert people, and myself personally, I get on a lot better with extroverts just because I find that there's always a bit of banter in the room and whatnot. Like, I'd actually call myself a chameleon.
You call yourself chameleon?
I feel like I've got chameleon-like qualities in the fact that I can adapt to all conversations from different ages and make myself blend in.
I feel like you're definitely a lot more extroverted than I am, though.
No, I feel like we're both pretty on par, and I think that's what we need in both of our industries, especially the entertainment and the social media industry.
Yeah.
So you yourself, you're always filming yourself and having your upbeat. Well, you're not like, I've seen a lot of people that do your line of work and they put on a fake persona for the camera and they hype right up. But you're naturally how you are, as you are, and that's what I like about you.
Yeah. Some people say they describe it as crackhead energy.
Is that what they call it? Crackhead energy?
Like you just snorted the biggest line, fucking who knows what, and you're like, yo, what's fucking good, guys? No, I don't really do that. I like to keep it a bit chill, a bit casual.
But I admire how you do it. Like you've just sort of got me into a mine of vlogging. I've just started doing some like edits and stuffing around and whatnot. But the way you can look at a camera and keep eye contact with it, whereas I struggle to look directly into a camera, I think it's really weird. So that's why I'm loving this, because it's on an angle.
Yeah, all you need to do is talk to me now.
I'm just looking straight at your eyes. I find that really weird. So I'll obviously get used to it, but you've been doing it a while. Yeah. And which is why I want to dive a bit into the past. So I was at a drinks at your house and I dropped one of the boys home and they're like, oh, Ben hasn't always like had it like really good. He's obviously grinded his way up, but I've only ever known you as, I think when I met you, you were already sort of on your way. You had 50,000 loyal followers and now you're up to like 65 or 70. But you've obviously had a grind like we all have.
It's a massive grind.
Dive into a bit of your grind. Like, did you ever cop any slack? How did
100%. I copped a lot of shit when I was first starting off. Mainly because my videos they were cringe, but I was just like a little fucking kid trying to do something. I reckon if you're giving someone shit for just like starting something new and following their passion, like I've said it before, you're a fucking piece of shit. Like seriously, if you're watching this, like fuck you, like go suck a fucking fat dick. Honestly, there's no room in this fucking world for people who try to set other people back for literally just doing something that they're passionate about. And obviously that doesn't mean fucking making YouTube videos. I know people that used to be incredible at singing, or they would go busking and they would give people would give them so much shit for just going out singing, making a living, and they would just get like fucking hammered for it. And I think that's the stupidest fucking thing in the world, because these people have enough balls to actually get out there and start. And I think that's a really commendable fucking thing. But yeah, I did get a bit of shit when I first started.
What age would that, like, when did you really notice that there was some people like looking down on what you're doing, or maybe like aggravating you, like shitty comments on your videos or whatever it might have been?
I think, well, I've been doing YouTube now for 5 or 6 years, which is quite a long time. And when I first started, there was definitely a lot of backlash. I tried to keep it secret for a little while from a lot of people. I remember I had
a private channel.
Yeah, I had a girlfriend in year 7.
Yeah.
And I was too scared to tell her I had a YouTube channel.
Really?
And so I pretended to be Tom, my little brother, logging into my phone. And I told her I had a YouTube channel. I was like, hi, this is Tom. I have a YouTube channel with Ben, because we had a joint YouTube channel at the time. Yeah. And I was too scared to tell her, so I got Tom to do it, which was actually me.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was wild. But yeah, I copped a lot of shit. I didn't take shit though. I definitely retaliated, but that's probably a story for another day.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, but it was definitely a journey to get started, and that's why I feel like I need to sort of be there to encourage a lot of people to really take that first step. And if it's just like one voice among many people telling you not to, then that might be all it takes. And that's sort of the idea behind my clothing line, which I just dropped. It's called Zealous, and it's sort of encouraging people to chase what they love to do with an attitude of passion and enthusiasm. And I think that's such a core part of me.
Yep.
and the way I take on life and my goals, my journey. And I think it's really important.
Yeah, starting any passion is hard enough in itself, but then when you pile on the haters at the start, everyone gets it. No matter, even the people you look up to, no matter what field they're in, they've all copped hate and they've all started at the bottom at the same level, and they've all grinded their way. I've been lucky. I haven't had too much. I did have a bit, obviously, when I started. When I started, I was doing house parties and whatever, and started doing local pub gigs, and there was always a certain group of blokes that didn't like me, and they would all start shit and stuff like that. And I've always been a bit of a retaliator as well. But it was all sort of online, sort of back and forth rubbish and stuff. But there's always been there's always doubters and haters, and I forget where I was really heading with that.
Well, you just got to make sure you kind of overcome that, and it only can push you so far if what you're doing you really love to do. And I think that's what we're both quite fortunate to be a part of. We're doing something that we really love to do. And, for me, it's been making YouTube videos, and it still is. I still love making YouTube videos, and then DJing, something that I've, just recently come into. Yeah. And it's something I could definitely see myself doing for a very, very, very long time. But you know what? We haven't actually talked too much about what this podcast is.
Yeah,
it's been very sort of, we just jumped straight into it. And I feel like if you've been listening this whole time, you're locked in, you're loaded, and you might want to know what this podcast is, sort of what we're about, and why we almost decided to do a podcast. Because obviously we touched on it before, saying we like to talk shit.
Yeah.
But we might want to just sort of finish this podcast off a little bit of why we're calling it Disco Lips too.
So, do you want to take this one away?
Yeah, you can take it away.
We named this podcast. We had a variety of names. We wanted it to be something to do with music, because we want to keep it semi-music based, but also be able to talk about a variety of topics and also some funny stories and dive into the past. But basically, what we want to do with the podcast, we want to inspire people to chase their dreams like we are. Don't be afraid to try something new. Like myself and Ben are both pretty normal people, we think, but it literally, we're no different to anyone else, and so are your other idols that you may look up to. Never be afraid to start something, and if you put in the work, you can make it happen. We've both put in countless hours into our what would you call it, craft, and we're slowly making waves and on our way. So
yeah, that's the idea. And also we just want to sort of show people this isn't sort of intended to be we want to be super inspiring and give all this fucking advice. This is just a podcast of two dudes trying to chase something that they love to do, and showing that you can also have a lot of fucking fun along the way. It doesn't have to all be hustle. There's so many fucking people online that just talk about hustle, hustle, hustle. You can't go out on weekends. If you think you can travel and be young and successful, you're a load of shit. I think that's a stupid attitude, because while you're young, just live it up, man. You got so much time to sit down and sort of work behind a desk as well. And if that's what you love to do, go for it. But I think it's good to see two guys that are a bit normal. They're following what they love to do, but they're also going out with the boys, getting on the piss, doing dumb shit along the way. It's not all just hustle, sunshine, and fucking making money.
Yeah, well, it's basically like what you said. We're chasing our dreams. We're doing what we like, and you, as a listener, may be doing something you're not particularly fond of. You may be working a 9-to-5 job. You might be just finishing school if you're Ben's followers, because they're all 12. No, I'm joking. No, you might be just finishing school, so you might not know what you want to do with your life. You might be in uni doing a really sucky course, and you're like, fuck, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Or you might be 30 and you'll be in a shitty relationship. You might have a shitty job, and you're like, you know what? I've always wanted to do this. Why the fuck not go start it now? Do it.
And just limp into it. I also think we should say we are looking for a third co-host.
Yeah, we are.
I think that's going to be a recurring segment. We're going to have people on this show. It's not going to be interview based though. We're going to have friends of ours. We're just going to chat to them, share funny stories. We're not going to get too interview with them. I don't really like podcasts. Well, hopefully
we did also plan about getting some big music artists on, because further down the track, obviously Ben's just gotten into the music industry, and you've actually been working on a lot of music.
Yeah.
And we've got your first single locked and loaded, and it's a fucking banger.
It's a banger, dude.
And
it's actually the first time I've announced that I've got a fucking single locked and loaded, ready to go.
Ready to go. And we're about to make waves in 2020. We're going to both release a lot of music. And the plan is to hopefully, when clubs open up, do a bit of a bus tour around Australia, play a lot of venues, and meet some of you guys that listen to this podcast along the way.
Yeah, and obviously hopefully meet a lot of like Aussie YouTubers and social media people, DJs, people in the music industry. I think that's the thing that really draws us together. So like Harpoon and I both have that same interest in, house music, making music, DJing. And I think that's why we've sort of got so close in a short time, because we only really started hanging out like a couple months ago, like
not
3
long.
or 4 months ago. Since then we've been hanging out like all the fucking time, got some good bands, and we're just like, fuck it, we'll make a podcast and just and talk shit about the stuff that we love to talk about. And one of those core things is music, and there's a shitload of other stuff that we love to talk about. You know, we're gonna have so many different convos about, you know, whether it be relationships, travel stories,
yeah, you name it. We've got a bit of everything under our belt. But I think also this, I guess in your industry, you film yourself a lot, and a lot of people know you as what your funny content is, but they don't actually get to hear the raw Ben Gerrans, and they don't really get to hear about the raw Harpoon. So I think a podcast is a great platform for people that might follow us that never really have a long conversation and get to know us a bit better. So the most people that would probably get enough time to speak to or listen to us talk shit like this, you'd have to be in our circle or pretty close.
Exactly.
If you run into someone you're sort of friends with at the shop, you might say hey for a minute, but they don't know your ins and outs of your life. So this is a good platform for you guys to get to know us, and hopefully, you'll be more involved in what we're doing and up to date, and hopefully we can bring some like laughter and some
I
whatnot
think,
to your day.
Honestly, that's like the main goal. Just have a bit of a laugh. You can be on your fucking way to work, way to school, in the car, and you just be chucking on this bad boy. We're going to be uploading once a week, probably every Monday.
Yeah, we're still nutting it all out at the moment. We thought, like, obviously we're going to be a bit rusty the first few episodes, but I think with time this will grow on us, and we're going to consistently upload so there's the same time every week.
Yeah.
So you guys have got something to look forward to. But I feel all in all, I was pretty nervous about today, and I've actually like had a lot of fun, and I feel like
me too.
I feel like there's going to be a dickload of stories come out over the next few episodes, and and people are going to know us probably too well.
Yeah, you know, I was definitely a little bit nervous before starting the podcast. I think it's interesting, like recording just a conversation, and it's definitely sort of a little bit of a different dynamic. You feel sort of a bit more pressure to like be funny and like say like really interesting shit. But I'm starting to ease up. You know, I feel like it's going to take a few episodes for us to really like show our full selves and just be able to like really relax in these chairs behind these microphones. It's interesting. You don't realize when people are recording podcasts, you can actually like hear yourself in the microphone.
Yeah,
which is
are you turned on? It you've got a nice voice, I must say.
Say something dirty to me.
Oh, okay. I don't know what I was going to say then.
Oh, yeah. I want to buy you a big glass of goon.
I want to buy your merchandise. Full price, no mates rates off your website.
Pay for international shipping, but only ship it to Australia.
So I think we should both give ourselves a bit of a plug. Obviously, we're going to do that at each episode. We're hoping to work with some brand sponsors. If anyone wants to jump on board, whether it could be whatever you want. If you guys want to be involved in the program, make sure you message us at discolipspodcast.gmail.com.
I think that's what it is, dude. I have no fucking
you made
idea.
the account, and we don't even know our own email.
I think it's discolipspodcast@gmail.com if you want to fucking reach out to us. If not, bennetttractionagency.com.au or harpoon123@gmail.com.
No, harpoonmusic123@gmail.com. But yes, or our Instagrams, you can reach out to us.
Yeah, just underscore. What is it? Underscore Harpoon underscore official underscore.
Yeah, there's like 3 underscores in there. There's actually
get rid of a few of those underscores, boss.
There was a fake Harpoon getting around, and there still is. If you look him up on Instagram, his name is Paul, and now me and Paul have had a few run-ins actually.
Harpoon offered to.
I offered to buy this dude's account for $2,000. I'm like, I need just Harpoon. Like, I can't have Harpoon underscore official. And anyway, I ended up offering him like a couple of grand, and he was a bit of a dick about it. So then I was like, motherfucker, give me that account. I was like, I need it for my brand.
And then you offered to assassinate him.
Yeah, I'm like, your name has got nothing to do with it. My name's got Harper. My music's released under that name, etc., etc. This guy's name is Paul Gill. I'm like, there's no need for you to have that name. Give it to me.
Give it to me, you dog.
You dog. But yeah.
Well, I feel like we've been gone.
Have we done 45 minutes?
We've literally been gone for about 47 minutes.
Have we?
Apparently, according to the fucking audio recording software. And
we wanted to keep them about 45 minutes.
Yeah, so maybe we just wrap this bad boy up.
Yeah, we'll do one last quick plug. I got a bit off topic there. So Ben's put a new clothing label out. Just give us a little quick rundown where they can find it.
Yeah,
what
guys,
it is.
it's actually all sold out. So that's fucking crazy. Thank you so much
fuck
for
you. No, keep going.
giving it a sauce and supporting it. It's something I really believe in, something I really love to do. So thanks for supporting the zealous movement. Should have another line out in a month and a half. And I'm just blown away by it. So thank you.
I think I'm really surprised about how loyal your fan base is, that they went in and absolutely cleaned out the merchandise first drop.
I've got the best fucking fans in the whole planet.
Shout out to the Gerrans.
Now these fans are going to be fans of Disco Lips podcast because they're the best fucking people on the planet. If you're listening to this in your car or watching this on the YouTube platforms, you're the fucking best. And I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. I fuck with you, and you must be a real G if you've listened to 49 minutes of this bullshit podcast. But thank you.
This absolute ear-soothing magic. And my name is Harpoon, so my main form of income is making tunes and you guys listening to them.
And
so
also he's a hooker and a stripper.
You can find me on the corner of between the hours of.
It's no wonder Harpoon thought the walls of this place looked like a brothel because he works in one.
Brothel.
He doesn't go into brothels. He just works in a brothel.
So if you guys want to support my music, I've got a new single out called Horizon on Spotify. If you could add that to your collections and stream it non-stop, that'll put a bit of money in your boy's pocket.
Yeah, guys, just put it on repeat and that's
and watch those streams roll up. But anyway, I think we'll wrap it on that. Thank you so much, guys. This has been episode 1 of
Disco Lips. Let us know who you'd like to see on the podcast. Any friends, family, loved ones.
Topics you'd like discussed, drop it in the comments and we'll try and talk about that.
And also, every single podcast is going to be answering a bunch of your guys' questions. We just decided not to do it in this one because the questions are going to be replaced by the intro and like who we are and whatnot. Never going to fucking explain that shit again because it's, the first podcast. So we're going to do a bit of an introduction. But yeah, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask us, literally anything, it can be relationships, fucking party stories,
whatever you need, advice. We got you
on anything. We'll attempt to give you guys the.
We'll give you some advice. Truth. It may not be the greatest, but it'll be honest.
It might not be good advice, but it'll be coming from our mouths, I guess. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
Awesome.
Peace out.
Your lips got me